Welcome to Speak English Podcast with Rory and Alex.
Picture this. It's 11 p.m. The house is finally quiet. You've turned off the TV. Maybe there's some soft music playing or just, that low hum of the city outside. You're sitting by a window and you catch your reflection in the glass. And then that question hits you.
That heavy question.
Yeah. You start calculating the distance between where you are right now and where you actually want to be. It's a universal feeling, isn't it? That late night inventory check.
It really is. It's that moment of reckoning when all the day's distractions just fade. No emails, no notifications, and you're left with nothing but your own ambition. Or sometimes the lack of it.
The gap between the current self and the ideal self.
Exactly.
And that gap is exactly where we're going today. Welcome back to the deep dive. We are tackling dreams and goals. And I want to be super clear right off the bat.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
We are not talking about REM sleep or nightmares about showing up to work without pants or why you shouldn't eat cheese before bed.
Although, to be fair, the sources did have some pretty amusing anecdotes about cheese nightmares.
Well,
but no, we're steering clear of the subconscious today. We are digging into aspirations.
right. We're looking at the specific language we use to construct our future and why, for so many people, it never actually gets built.
The architecture of ambition.
I like that. We have a really interesting stack of sources today. I mean, it ranges from simple vocabulary guides for language learners all the way to some surprisingly heavy philosophical discussions.
It's basically the intersection of grammar and grit. What struck me most reading through all this is that the words we choose, the way we talk about our goals, it actually predicts whether we achieve them.
It's not just semantics. It's like you're programming yourself.
It is.
So let's start with the foundation. The sources make this really sharp distinction between a dream and a goal. And I think, in casual conversation, we use them interchangeably.
We do. My dream is to write a book. My goal is to write a book. It sounds like the same thing.
But it's not.
Not at all, according to the sources. A huge mistake people make is stopping at the dream. Think of a dream as the emotional part. One source called it the stars or the big sky.
That warm, fuzzy feeling.
Exactly. It's the what, but it completely lacks the how.
So the dream is the destination, but it's just sort of floating out there in space.
It's untethered. And linguistically, the word dream is fascinating because it's so slippery. It's a noun, my dream is, but it's also a verb, I dream of.
It's a continuous state of desire.
Right. You can dream for 20 years and never get off the couch.
Whereas the goal is the engineering.
Precisely. The goal is the rocket ship. It's the calculated steps. It's the difference between looking up at the sky and, actually welding metal together. A goal has friction. A dream is weightless.
That distinction leads us to what I found to be the most convicting part of the research. The someday constructs. I felt so called out by this.
Well, these are such dangerous traps.
The sources list these phrases like, someday I plan to, or someday I hope to. The examples were things like visiting France or seeing a Toronto Raptors game.
And it sounds so nice, doesn't it? Someday I'll go to Paris. But just notice the lack of tension in that sentence. Someday is a safety valve.
It creates this comfortable distance.
It does. Because there's no deadline, there's no potential for failure. You can't fail it someday because someday never actually arrives.
So it's a procrastination device disguised as optimism.
That is a perfect way to put it, yes.
But what about the phrase, I dream of a day, when the sources used examples like dreaming of a day without a pandemic or owning a house? That one feels heavier to me. It feels more desperate, maybe.
It has more emotional weight, for sure. It anchors the desire.
Yeah.
But this is where the linguistic analysis got really interesting for me. This is a key takeaway. If you look at how successful people speak.
People who actually did it.
Right. They stop using the future tense. They switch to the present perfect.
Yeah. Okay, let's pause and get technical for a second. We're talking grammar tenses. Why does that matter for psychological success?
Because the future tense, I will do this, is a promise. And promises are easy to break. But the present, perfect. It connects the past to the present moment. It frames the journey as something that's already part of your identity.
So instead of saying, I want to learn languages.
Look at the case study of Ashley from the sources. She doesn't say, I hope to learn. She says, I have learned 3 languages, or I have lived here for 5 years.
It validates the experience. It says, I started this, and the evidence is right here, right now. It bridges that gap between who you were and who you are.
Exactly. It validates the struggle. We saw it with Tyler, the guy who dreamed of running a marathon. When he talks about it using the present perfect, he connects all the training, all that past suffering, to the achievement. But the absolute weapon in this whole thing, according to the sources, is one tiny 3-letter word.
I know exactly which word you're going to say. Yet.
The power of yet.
I haven't done it yet.
It just completely reframes failure, doesn't it?
It does. Without yet, the sentence, I haven't run a marathon, is a closed door. It's a statement of fact. It sounds like, I am not a runner.
Right. It's an identity verdict.
Yeah.
But I haven't run a marathon yet implies that the shoes are already laced up. It signals to your brain that success is inevitable. It's just a matter of timing.
It turns a stop sign into a comma.
I love that. Turning a stop sign into a comma.
So we've got the grammar of hope. We're using yet. We're shifting our tenses. But let's be honest, a dream is just a cloud floating away unless you pin it down. We have to talk about execution.
Strategy. We have to move from the abstract to the concrete. And the sources are almost unanimous on one specific framework, and I know I can hear the collective groan already from anyone who works in a corporate office.
You're going to say SMART goals.
I am. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
I just feel like everyone rolls their eyes at this because we hear it in, quarterly reviews. Make your KPIs SMART. It feels so sterile. Why does my dream of learning to paint need to be a corporate acronym?
Because vague goals are where dreams go to die. That's the reality. I want to learn painting as a cloud. It's a nice thought.
Yeah.
But what do you do on Tuesday at 4 p.m.? You don't know.
Right.
But a SMART goal is, I will paint for 20 minutes, 3 times a week for 2 months.
You can visualize that one. You can physically check a box.
It creates accountability, but more importantly, it reduces the cognitive load.
Yeah.
You don't have to wake up and ask, what should I do to become a painter today? The decision is already made. 20 minutes. Go.
That actually leads to something I found much more inspiring, which was the bridge metaphor. One source tells the story of someone dreaming of living by the sea. Logically, they can't just move tomorrow.
Right. You have a job, you have debt, your family's in the city, life is in the way, and this is where most people give up. They see the gap as a canyon.
So how does the bridge metaphor change that?
They reframe saving money as building a bridge. Every coin you save isn't just a boring financial transaction or denying yourself a latte. It's a physical brick in the bridge that gets you closer to the ocean.
I like that because it changes the feeling of it. Saving money usually feels like deprivation. I can't have this.
But building a bridge feels like construction.
Right.
I am making this.
Yeah.
We saw this with Crystal from Mexico. She wanted to study in Canada. No money. Imperfect English. On paper, impossible. But she used a 1-year plan. She built her bridge day by day, and eventually she crossed it. She didn't leap. She built.
That brings up a critical point about scope. The sources mention Charlotte, the shy student who dreamed of traveling alone. That is terrifying if you're an introvert.
It creates paralysis. If Charlotte had tried to book a ticket to Singapore on day 1, she would have frozen. The gap is just too big.
So how'd you do it?
Small wins. The mantra in the source material is, done is better than perfect. She took tiny steps for 6 months. Going to a cafe alone. Taking a train to a nearby town alone. And the science here is fascinating because it contradicts how we usually think. We wait to feel motivated before we act. We sit around waiting for that lightning bolt of energy.
Right. I need to feel like going to the gym before I actually go.
But the sources argue that motivation actually follows action. It doesn't precede it.
So you have to start the car before the engine warms up.
Exactly. If you force yourself to study for just 5 minutes, the motivation to study for 20 minutes kicks in after you start. Charlotte made it to Singapore because she let the small actions generate her confidence. She didn't wait for it to fall from the sky.
Okay, so you're building the bridge, you're taking small steps, you've got your SMART goals. But let's not be naive. The sources identify what they call the adversity curve.
Yes. Because it's never a straight line.
No.
Life punches back. And this is where the sources used a really clever metaphor, mapping life challenges onto language learning levels B2 versus C1.
Let's break that down because I think this applies to anyone. What's a B2 level enemy of a dream?
These are the internal enemies. The common stuff. Procrastination, distraction, temptation.
The desire to watch Netflix instead of writing your novel.
Right. Procrastination is the thief of time. It's a cliche because it's true. It's the I'll do it tomorrow syndrome. And the only way to beat this thief is with deadlines. You need pressure.
So it's overcome by discipline.
It is. But then you have the C1 challenges. This isn't just about checking your phone too much. This is about hitting a wall.
This is rock bottom.
This is external disaster.
Yeah.
This is when you do all the work, you build the bridge, and a storm comes and knocks it down. We had the story of the author who finished the book, sent it off, and got a harsh, brutal rejection.
Or the person saving for the seaside home whose car engine blows up and wipes out the entire savings account in one afternoon.
That's the moment where 90% of people quit.
Yeah.
And honestly, I get it. It feels like the universe is just screaming, no. But the expert perspective here is about how you label that event. Do you call it a sign to stop or a plot twist? The sources brought up idioms like bite the bullet or turn the tables.
When the going gets tough, the tough get going.
And they argue that this failure is actually indispensable. It's transformative. The broken car forces you to find a smarter, faster way to earn money. The rejected manuscript forces you to become a better writer.
So the obstacle isn't a stop sign, it's a detour sign that might actually lead to a better road.
Ideally, yes. Which actually brings us to the deepest part of the pool. We're moving into the philosophy of success.
This is the C2 level stuff, because at a certain point you have to ask, why do we even have these dreams? And what happens when they change?
And they do change. That's a sign of growth, not failure. We have a comparison of the childhood astronaut versus the adult tour guide.
I loved that. When you're 5, everyone wants to be an astronaut. But then you grow up and maybe you realize you're scared of heights or you just really love history and talking to people.
Exactly. Yeah. Holding on to a dream just because you had it when you were a child isn't loyalty, it's stubbornness. There was the story of Jesse, the soccer player. His whole identity was being a pro athlete. Then he gets injured. Dream over.
It feels like it. If the goal was play pro soccer and you can't run, the goal is dead.
But he pivoted. He became a coach. His dream changed shape but didn't die. That is such a crucial distinction. We often hold on to old dreams because we promised our 10-year-old selves. But you aren't 10 anymore.
You have new data. You have new values. And that leads to the danger of what the sources called chasing shadows. This felt like a real warning label on the bottle of ambition.
This is maybe the most important part of the whole thing. Chasing shadows is the pursuit of ephemeral success. Things that glitter and then just dissolve. Applause, trophies, money, likes on social media.
It's the classic idea of climbing the ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong building.
That's it. You build the empire, but you feel hollow. The sources urge us to define true victory before we start building the bridge. Is it inner peace? Is it authenticity? You might get the corner office, but if it doesn't align with your values, have you actually succeeded? Or have you just been busy?
It's a tough question. It forces you to look at why you want what you want.
And there's a phrase that popped up that I think captures the right kind of intention. Set my sights on.
Set my sights on.
It implies focus, yes, but also long-distance vision. You set your sights on a destination, but you're aware of the whole journey it takes to get there. It's deliberate. It's not just wishing on a star. It's plotting a course.
So let's zoom out. We started with that 11 p.m. feeling of someday. We realized we need to turn those into SMART goals, the boring but necessary engineering. We realized we have to fight through procrastination and even through rock bottom.
And finally, we have to make sure we aren't just chasing shadows, that the goal is actually worth the grit.
If there's one thing I want you, the listener, to take away from this, though, it's a warning about the modern lens we view all this through. Social media.
The comparison trap. It's brutal.
There was a quote in the notes. Don't compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20. I think that is the most important advice for the modern world.
It is. We see the highlight reel of everyone else's success, the finished bridge, the published book, the marathon medal. We don't see the years of saving, the rejection letters, or the 5 a.m. training runs in the rain.
Real achievement is slow, it's boring, most of it is invisible.
It is. It's the ball laying, not the ribbon cutting.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought. We talked about the grammar of yet.
The power of yet.
If you're sitting there right now feeling like you haven't made it, or you're behind, or your dream is too far away, just remember that grammar rule. You haven't reached it yet.
And that yet is full of potential. It means the story isn't over. It means the bridge is still under construction.
Your journey is unique, so don't look at the other bridges. Keep building yours, brick by brick. Keep dreaming and keep building. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.